Hello, my name is Lucas. This is a bit of lit. I'm here to talk about one of many novels that I have read in the past couple weeks. I've got 7 books to talk about. I'm only going to talk about one in this video, and that would be 1979's very own Kurt Vonnegut novel, Jailbird. I read this a couple weeks ago and I didn't make a video right away because I've been really busy. My memory is a bit fuzzy on it. I've got a few notes of things that I had put down as I was reading it, and I'm just gonna maybe from time to time look at my iPad to make sure that I don't forget anything. This is part of my Who is Kurt Vonnegut series, where I have been going through Kurt Vonnegut's work. I read all of his nonfiction first. I read a very damning biography of him, sort of a confirmation bias on my own belief that he is a grumpy old man who thinks he knows best. And that is what that biography stated. And then I read 8 of his novels and I felt the same way. With me really only liking Slaughterhouse Five. Not a great deal. It still has some Vonnegutisms that I don't appreciate. However, I felt it was the most mature. I felt he was being the most honest in it. He wasn't being too polemical or polemic. Didn't feel like he was, what's that word? There's another word for it. Like he is the great teacher teaching you, and you come to him for great wisdom and knowledge, and let me share with you all I know. I suppose that's what novels are, what any author kind of has in the back of their head, maybe, but it's really bad and noticeable with Kurt Vonnegut. It's very obvious that he thinks he knows. He's the one who knows about life. I stopped after the one, I think it's Slapstick, where I don't really remember what happens, but I think the sister takes her own life, and also the Chinese start to become so small that when people breathe them in, they get sick and die. Did not age well at all in the modern world. I had to stop after that. I think partly because of the lockdown, and a lot because I hated that novel. Although that might have been Breakfast of Champions and not Slapstick. I think that was Slapstick. But Jailbird, I had been dreading. I saw that I was going to read it right away after I had read Slapstick, I think. But I decided not to because I saw that it was a Watergate novel. And then I don't need to see any more political nonsense from Kurt Vonnegut. I've already seen enough when it comes to Mother Night, which is one of the most vile and atrocious novels I've ever read in my entire life. Utterly god-awful, just a truly terrible novel. God, so many of his novels are bad, and I would say the only one of the first 8 that is any good is Slaughterhouse Five, followed by a middling Cat's Cradle, which is only not good, only has a really bad part because it's perfectly fine and interesting up until they have their trip to the island San Lorenzo or something, I forgot. Where I think Vonnegut is strongest is when he is writing and not being immature, I suppose. When he's being mature and talking about some very serious subjects, things that are really important to him, not making something up, making some nonsense up. Like Sirens of Titan is a whole bunch of ideas thrown at you with absolutely ridiculous, absurd, to the point of having no connection to reality, no basis in reality, which fails to help his satire land, at least for me, which is why I don't find him funny, on top of his immaturity and his know-it-all attitude. What is that word? I used it in one of my reviews, I remember, to say it's like you're reading, he wants to tell you what to think. But when he is being mature, so to speak, and when he is being serious, even if he is being satirical, when he takes a more serious stance, to dive deep into some issues and share what he thinks about them through his satire, or through his conventions, listen, blah, 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 blah. Where he sort of gives direct commands to the reader, breaks the fourth wall in a way like that, is when he's at his best. And I think Jailbird, now that we are 6 minutes into this video, I think Jailbird is one of those novels. I think it's one of his best. Now, is it a great novel? It's okay. It's perfectly fine, but in the grand scheme of things, when it comes to Kurt Vonnegut, I think it's one of his best novels. It is Watergate novel about a guy named Walter Starbuck? Yeah, Walter F. Starbuck, and he is a co-conspirator in the Watergate scandal. He touches on issues of politics in America, not just during the Nixon administration, but also with McCarthyism, communism, which Starbuck was a communist early on in his life, capitalist America, corporate America, especially with Ramjack, which is this copyright owning it's this company that you hear about a lot, and apparently owns the copyrights to Vonnegut's novels, probably made as a kind of joke. Also, Kilgore Trout is introduced in this novel again, but sort of as pseudonym for a prisoner, which is kind of a fun little take on who is Kilgore Trout. Anyway, Starbuck comes from a capitalist, wealthy kind of family. He does become a communist. He becomes aware of the labor movement protest, a massacre, Cuyahoga massacre, which was a place met with violence. He, as he grows older, he goes to Harvard. He's always called the Harvard man, even though he didn't really do anything to deserve to go to Harvard. And it's sort of like not an autobiography. That's more, Bluebeard is more like that, but it's kind of like a memoir of certain short amounts of time for certain periods in this guy's life, and what they meant for him, and what he was thinking, and all this stuff. And it's really, again, I think it's Vonnegut probably at his strongest. It might even be my favorite. I'll have to think about it. It might even be better than Slaughterhouse Five for me, although still just kind of an okay novel. It's still got these Vonnegutisms. I don't really like the direct language to the author, and I don't like some of his characteristics in his writing. But there's another key thing that is very interesting about this novel, in that it's always mentioning these Italian anarchists, Sacco and Vanzetti. I'm not totally sure. I just know the Joan Baez song, here's to you, Nicola and Bart, rest forever here in our hearts, the last and final moment is yours, that agony is your triumph, because it was in Metal Gear Solid, like, in 2 or 3 games, and I'm obsessed with that song. But they're constantly referenced. They're sort of that moment in time, that event has permeates throughout this novel, and the implications of that, and the implications of Watergate, and all these different things. Yeah, I kind of enjoy it. As painful as, I had to get all my complaining out so I didn't sound too positive. That's what the first 6 minutes was for. But yeah, not a terrible novel, surprisingly. Actually, pretty good. I enjoyed it. Can't complain. I think I do like it more than Slaughterhouse Five. I'll have to think about it, although it's been months since I read it again, although I've read that novel many times. Anyway, bye.